Hey, what is up, my man? We got Mike Twardy here. He has been a client of mine for over a year, and he kind of started when I was first starting out with my program, Become Your Elite, and he's gone through multiple different iterations and the evolution of myself as a coach. And I have him here today to kind of explain his experience inside um, the coaching program and just his experience with working with me. And Mike, why don't you introduce yourself, man?
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you, Oliver, today. So I am Mike Twardy. I've been working with Oliver for the last year. We worked on multiple programs together, a couple-week program just for a kind of test run for him, while also having a one-to-one basis on trainer-trainee basis. It's been a great time working with him. Definitely have learned a lot and grown so much uh, with all aspects of mental abilities, personality types, and physical aspects, and just kind of really making every day count.
Yeah, we've done a lot. We've really dived into stuff, and so where, Mike, kind of explain to people where were you at before we even started? Where were you at, kind of like mentally, spiritually, physically before we even did anything, right?
So, a little backstory, I've been kind of involved in athletics for quite some time. Going back towards when I was really little, I would do a lot of baseball, soccer, and then I really kind of specialized into swimming. And that really settled with me. It kind of really helped me uh, balance out my social life. If I was stressed, that was a great way to kind of alleviate that stress and really clear my mind in a positive manner, while combating schooling and all that. I went through with swimming all the way up through college at a D3 institution. Um, so it wasn't as rigorous, but it was still quite demanding physically, nutrition wise, and that's always been things that I kind of wanted to really break down, really understand how I can improve myself in all those aspects. And it began. I think my journey with fitness really began with my coach telling me I was too small and wasn't really going to make it on the team, wasn't going to really perform well. Um, Made it through all 4 years, did really well, made it to champs senior year, actually champs every single year, but champs finals senior year. Did really well, built up a lot of resilience in my mind, and started to kind of really question more of where are my thoughts going? Where are my um, why am I feeling so anxious sometimes? And obviously, I would go to counseling and worked on that at school. However, uh, Oliver, I started following a lot of fitness pages, started kind of getting into my own thing, and I gravitated towards Oliver's page. It was a lot of positive thoughts, a lot of positive posts, and I think just aesthetically pleasing pictures
Yeah,
as well.
you were
It was
following me for some
great
time too.
flow,
Yeah.
great flow. Yeah, and I think that we started talking in the DMs for a little bit and really kind of just gravitated towards each other. I really loved all the aspects that he was bringing to the table in spirituality and nutrition and fitness and the right mindset to really elevating yourself in all aspects. And with that, I think I questioned it a little bit at the beginning. Um, I think the efficiency of the program and all that. I was on two plans beforehand that were just nutrition, just fitness, and
Yeah, what
both
did you do
were,
before, right? I think you were doing some other
yeah,
stuff before. What was
yeah,
your experience with like other coaches before like going into like this?
yeah.
Because I think that experience was interesting in the
They
beginning.
were so my first program I worked on was actually pretty great on a nutrition side. However, um, where that program fell for me was a lot of it was already prescribed. A lot of it was written down and you just had to follow it. No if, ands, or buts, or any by means of why. So obviously at that time I wanted results. I wanted to get there and move forward. So I followed it and I did see results. It was good progress. It was good movement forward. However, it was very limited towards just your exercises that you do in the gym and just eating eggs in the morning and kind of getting that done, but not nearly to the capacity of why do I want to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to drive myself every single day to go to the gym and get in that workout, whether or not I was swimming practice in the morning or whether or not I had a really rigorous schedule with classes? How am I going to get this done? Um, and it was not nearly as personal and engaged and specific, I think, catered towards a person's needs. With Oliver, in lieu of that, works on weekly conversations, staying in contact, and in addition, we've done a couple of other group conversations and really delved into great topics. We can talk about that a little bit later in the interview. My second program kind of built on that a little bit and the simplification of bulking and cutting and figuring out how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to work that in. And I saw results on both these programs, but it was not nearly to where I wanted it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted that psychology element to it that really, I think, drives home uh, everything that you do and why you're doing it. And honestly, I'm a strong believer that if you really get everything in order in your brain and in your heart and in your mind and your soul and everything along with that, and really kind of align those to who you are as a person,
Love that.
you're unstoppable. Like you'll be able to hit what you want in the gym. You'll be able to get that nutrition and really
Yeah.
learn a lot. So that was something that Oliver brought to the table. And I was skeptical at first. I was not sure because this is a program that has not been very much in the market, let's say.
Yeah, it wasn't around for a while. This was when we first started. This was the beta. This was like 2019,
Yeah.
August. I was creating the beta for kind of Become Your Elite, which was this holistic kind of coaching, lifestyle coaching. Um, yes, talk about that. That first 6 week kind of beta program because that was the first one. It was like,
I definitely doubted it at first. I saw the itinerary for what we were going to do, and actually I was pretty excited for what was going to happen. We were going to talk about personality types and kind of break down mine and how that works. And we were going to do group conversations with people and talk about topics that we weren't understanding and kind of baseboard off of that, like how we can engage, how we can keep talking to people and really learning from others and stay open-minded and building just kind of consistency in what you're doing day to day.
yeah,
I thought it was a great way
we
of
added in
connecting.
those habits of like meditation,
Mhm.
journaling, mindfulness,
Yep.
right? And
Yeah.
basically people came in and thought they were
Weren't doing
just
any of those. Yep. Yep.
yeah, just
Including
yeah. So
myself.
yeah, so talk about that experience because there was a moment in time when you were like, I've done this, I've done these other programs, and I was like, I was not expecting this, and it's like, there was like a change there where you like were consistently improving, whereas before you felt like you were like digressing in those other programs. So talk a little bit about that experience because I thought that was super interesting.
So with my old programs, I think what it was is it was hard to stay on track, stay up to date with everything, and making sure I'm recording my meals, make sure I'm recording my workouts. And I was familiar with Trainer Eyes, the app that Oliver uses, and a couple of my other coach that I did have worked on that as well. However, uh, it was hard getting in those workouts, getting in those nutrition skills that I wanted to build up, and there was not nearly as much of a gratitude towards your coach and towards yourself in a sense of you've done great. You've been recording your meals for 20 days now. Keep going day by day, work on it. And it was very personal with my old trainers and it was very much one on one. But one thing I really kind of threw me for a loop at the beginning was this community that we had of 7 or 8 of us. We would get on calls together. We would talk about how each of us were doing. And it was just kind of very motivating to hear their stories, where they were coming from, their struggles. I know this is when we kind of started rolling out meditation daily, tracking our meals daily, making sure we're hitting our workouts. For me, workouts were a forte of mine. So that was not as much of my focus. I focused a lot more on nutrition, meditation, and tracking, which I did a pretty great run. I think for a while, I think I was up to like 70 days of tracking it or something like that. I forget the exact date, but it was a decent amount of
Yeah,
days
it
consistently
was,
tracking.
yeah, it was super consistent.
But what threw me for a loop was not only easy, the easy, not only was it easy to track everything and get it done per se, but it was rewarding in a sense of coming back to the meetings and feeling confident with what you've done and talk to everyone and see how they were doing too, and see, oh, like, yeah, like Jimmy was killing it at it too. Like, he was doing phenomenal and I was doing great, and it was just motivating in that whole general scheme, um, which was something that I did not get from any other program. So that was kind of what threw me for a loop. um, I know at first I walked in thinking, oh, this is gonna be great. We're gonna have great conversations and all this jazz. And I psyched myself out the next week, and I was like, oh gosh, like I'm busy right now. I have this call. I'm really not in the mood to call and talk to everyone. Um, and I was like, you know what? Is this really gonna work? Is this really gonna like benefit me and make my progress move forward? But you have to trust the process of connecting with people and staying consistent, making sure you're tracking everything, and you'll see how easy it'll become. You'll find your own little tricks and habits that kind of just consolidate. I mean, you need, what is it, 90 days for a good habit to form. So,
Yeah, it's like 21 to like 180 days, right?
yeah,
Average is like 60 something for a habit to actually stick.
form and stick. And that was something that I think I never recognized on any other programs that I've done, that you really gotta just get it done. And the rewards were very great on that. Was something I was very happy with.
Yeah, and that's you went through again multiple iterations, and I'd love to hear about like what was your experience on this last one where we did 6 months of coaching, and it was a lot more one on one. There was a lot less group in there, but there was a lot more kind of deep dives into kind of the emotional psychological aspect and like working through issues and mitigating stress and kind of just trying to bring more mindfulness and peace of mind kind of into your life. And
Mhm.
talk to me about like talk to me about your experience of that. Like how was that different as well than like the type of stuff that you might have
Yep.
known before? Like talk about that unique experience you had.
Uh, yeah, the last 6 months that I worked with him, absolutely phenomenal. We really did break a lot of barriers. Really did um, break down a lot of walls and move forward and progress and become more peaceful. Um, I think it's very interesting that you don't always know how much trauma and how much other baggage you have attached to you until you really do deeper dives. Um, so for me, walking in, Oliver threw out the itinerary again, and this time it was a lot more structured. Not that it wasn't structured before, but we were doing a lot more one-on-one talks weekly and talking about different conversations and breaking down personality, emotions, how we perceive everything, the psychology behind it, and um, really how we can socially apply it, how we can mentally apply it to ourselves, and kind of progress through traumas and figure out what kind of traumas we've experienced in our life. My traumas are going to be completely different to someone else's, but with the setup, it allows for the elaboration and the expanse of your own personal journey and how it then applies to this program and how you can improve uh, yourself and how you interact with others. So when I walked in, I'm excited. I'm always that guy who's like, I see an itinerary, a planner, something organized. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see the breakdown of everything. And we had a lot of great month breakdowns in topics and conversations. I know the first month was kind of just settling in, getting ready to get back on those habit tracking again. I know that I think there was a window of 1 to 2 weeks in between that I fell off on my habits a little bit. So that was something that I was having kind of slipping from. Um, but it was kind of reiterating that, driving home, uh, getting those consistent habits up first, making sure you're doing it for the right reasons, why you would want to do that. I know in the first iteration, we briefly talked about the mission and the vision of Become Your Elite, and Oliver wrote those up, and I don't have them right now on hand. I know Oliver probably has them in his memory.
Yeah, so just the vision of Become Your Elite is to build a deeper connection within ourselves to elevate the collective consciousness of the world. Right? And that actually wasn't the first iteration, that is the current iteration. Um, so I think that's the first time Mike's hearing it too. So that's the purpose of it. And so what we did was we deepened the connection within Mike, right? To raise the collective consciousness of the world, because as he's raising his consciousness, I'm raising mine, is raising everyone else's. So, was there talk about some of the kind of aha moments that you had during that program? Because there was some breakthroughs there where there was a lot of limiting beliefs and certain emotional attachments to things that we kind of just like worked through. And I'd love to talk about that because the breakthroughs you've had just in terms of your mindset and like right, you're completely different. So like talk a little bit about that, like where you were kind of at in that structure of mindset and emotions and kind of how you were, the external environment, the validation, like you were in a completely different spot than you are now. So like would love people to hear that transformation because that was really powerful.
Yeah, of course. I will. Ready to get into it. And so it was. I kind of walked in to the first iteration, the beta iteration. We did a couple-week challenge, I think 2-week challenge, and then we walked into the big kind of kahuna of program. And even with my old programs, a lot of it was I'm doing this to better myself and to improve myself in what I'm doing. But a lot of it wasn't as gripping. It wasn't as you were getting these habits built. You were getting these other things kind of solidified, your nutrition a little bit. Um, but it was kind of like going through the motions a little bit instead of kind of being in control of your destiny, where you're going, and how you're keeping yourself accountable to your own actions. Um, we had a lot of discussions on personality types, and I had a lot of aha moments in our discussions there of okay, like, and I kind of want to disclaimer this right now. This is something where it's very individualized. So for me, looking at my personality type is not all of me. There's a lot of different aspects. It's more of a nature element of who you are and kind of your surroundings. And then obviously you nurture based on your environment that you've been in. Um, so I'm going to talk loosely about my personality type as extroverted, intuitive, uh, judging, and feeling, which is ENFJ. Um, and when I talk about that, it's more of where it kind of resonates with me and my experiences. So ENFJs, really cool, but that there can be one person who's an ENFJ who's quite different and unique to another one. It's more of just your experiences, how you were brought up, your interactions with others, your friends, all that. And for me, a lot of it was interesting. A great aha moment was talking about our kind of like the pitfalls of your own personality type and kind of where you catch yourself, and you you have your issues, you have your weaknesses and your strengths. And for me, it was kind of an aha moment there to talk about it and kind of talk about my past and my present, and figure out like, okay, like these are my weaknesses, these are in my personality type things that I have struggled with. Validation was one of the big ones that you just mentioned, and that was something for me. Like, I am a outgoing guy, very energetic, as you can probably see from this whole interview. um Not always the confident one though. I think it was a lot of validation, a lot of accepting and affirmations from others. And when those are lacking, sometimes you feel a little bit more depressed, you feel
Mhm.
unhappy with your success and your journey and where you're going. And even the little things of nitpicking how your voice sounds. And I'm going to the gym, I'm putting all this work in, but I'm not seeing results. Why am I not seeing results? That person over there looks great in comparison to me. Pitfalls like that were a big aha moment for me, and a wake up call and being like, okay, like these are where you struggle. How can we find peace with those? How can we learn to dance with the issues that we have in our lives and kind of navigate that in general and bring up our strengths as well? That was one of the big aha moments for me. I know later on we did a lot of healing sounds on Spotify, and a lot
Yeah,
of it
meditations, right? We
a
did
lot of
meditations.
meditation. That's something that
It,
I am been really utilizing. Right now, I've been doing a lot more of musical meditation, so putting on a sound and like instrumentals and just kind of going for the ride. Um, I know Oliver was sponsoring a app called Oak for his meditations. I actually didn't utilize them as much. I worked on another app called Balance, which was more self-guided. Kind of had instructor speakers walk you through how to meditate in the moment. But with our chakra healings that we did, me and Oliver, um, those were a lot of emotional releases that were from these traumas, from these doubts and issues in my life that I had. And it was not something that I ever experienced. It was something that it was not what I was expecting at all. Um, Obviously, you walk into a program, you're thinking, okay, we're gonna do fitness, we're gonna do nutrition, we're gonna get down to business and kind of get those all in order. But um, I knew we were going to work on myself. I knew we were going to work on improving my mindset and efficiency and productivity. But what I wasn't expecting, which was a big aha moment, was all of this other emotional and psychology breakdown and release, which is 100% necessary with moving forward and really finding your own peaceful balance and getting down to business and really hitting a great workout. We did a couple of other exercises where we would step into our elite self in a sense of where you want to see yourself down the road,
mhm.
10 years, 15 years. And with those, it initially I thought it was going to be very much, okay, I'm going to have a nice car. I'm going to be uh, having a relationship, being steady and happy, kids, great stable job, looking buff, feeling great, healthy food. And it's so much more than that. And it's something with the journey I've taken with Oliver over the last 6 months. There are, as much as I would like to break down everything in the interview, it's there are sometimes no words for that transformative journey that you take with another person to really improve yourself and them. Um, it's something where I can talk about all these different things I wanted to improve on in that stepping into my new self. And the feelings behind it that were really brought out, and the emotion behind it that puts that puncher drive into why do I want to do this? Where am I going? What is my mission? How do I align with becoming your elite? How do I align with all the goals that I want to set and push through? Um, it's hard to put into
Yes.
words, but that's something that is very unique to Oliver's program. You got to really trust the process. It was, I think, 2 weeks in, and I was doubting myself a little bit in what we were going to do. I kind of held up a wall of talking about my own personality, my own flaws, my own issues. Um, and a lot of what Oliver would do is just kind of strip it down very basic and very factually be like, okay, like, look, this is the situation, this is what's happening. And he brought a lot of great social psychology, a lot of childhood psychology, and life betterment coaching to the table in those moments that really pushed me through that barrier of my own self and my own doubts, my own flaws, my own issues, my own shortcomings, and where I'm hiding my walls and where I am hiding my own true self from getting out and breaking through. Um, so that was
Love it,
something that
man.
was
Yeah.
very unique to his program that um, you're not going to find that very often. And I think that's something that's very much uh, the ticket has quite a price, and that's why. And I think that it's something that it's very hard to get. It's very hard to really get that transformation and grow so much from it. Um, I have now been meditating daily. I've really honed in on my kitchen skills, and what I'm doing in that workouts, I am embodying that self and really stepping into it and making sure that action, accountability, and all that are really pushed into play with everything that I do. Um,
Yeah. How do you feel now? How do you like to describe the person you are now? Because you're a completely different person than when
yeah,
you first started. So who's Mike now?
I think the I'm gonna be a little cynical here, and that's kind of some of my humor a little bit. But I honestly like look back at it. I'm like, what a idiot! Like how much he cared about these things that don't quite matter, and how he let his walls kind of build him up and keep him there, and not let him step forward and really be confident in himself. And it's you make these little scenarios in your head all the time. I struggle with overthinking anxiety, and that was something that we really kind of broke down, and I made a lot of walls to say that that's the reasoning towards my limitations, rather than let's get down to business, step through that, break through it, and that's not an excuse. um, Obviously I know everyone's scenario and issues are very different, and I obviously understand traumas hit very hard, whatever journey it might be that you've been on so far. So I don't want to belittle any of that, but for me personally, uh, that was something that I did. I very much held it an excuse rather than a okay, learn to dance with that, learn to work with my anxiety and move forward, and really kind of put that overthinking and uh, perfectionism and really fine tuning and specifics to better yourself. So for me, I am very, very strong on my balance between mobility, strength, and workouts and form. And that's something that I've always been great at. And that's part of my anxiety. It's learning to put that into a positive light rather than a negative. Um, but yeah, it's been a lot of different mindset changes over the time too. It's a lot of self doubt was in the beginning, and a lot of the times now it's very much okay. I'm going to say something. We're going to do it. I'm going to say something. I'm going to take that action. I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to second guess myself or second guess what actions I'm doing. Obviously, plan accordingly. Make sure you're doing your research and all that jazz. Um, but really, to go out and not let others limit you and let yourself limit yourself based off of what others might say to you and what their beliefs of you and their uh, man, this word's slipping my brain.
It's all good. It's all
Your
good.
expectations, their
Yeah.
expectations of you. Um, and that's something that's hard to wrestle with. And I think that really finding yourself personally, emotionally, being in touch with those is where that drives that past. So we kind of set up all that emotional stuff first to really push forward and say, okay, this is where we can now boost our confidence. This is where we can really break through. And then I know a lot of other programs probably now are talking about uh, emotions and this psychology. And there are a lot of new programs that are coming up very much like Oliver's. Um, but I don't know if they're hitting as hard. I don't know if they're going to be really delivering with this much swift force that Oliver's program was. I think it really did do the damn thing and really get it done. And it's something that, like I said, I've been kind of preaching this, but it's very unique. It's not a program you would expect to see on the daily, even with a lot of upcoming programs. Yeah, I'm very confident. Can't wait to move out soon and kind of get things rocking and rolling, start coaching. And
Yeah, Mike's gonna start coaching too.
Sounds it.
So like part of this experience has honestly helped him to kind of develop deeper skills in coaching because he's gone through this deeper work, and so he understands the fitness. And but even just through doing this stuff, he knows that he's not just a fitness coach because he's gone through this type of work and he understands the change. Right? It's not just fitness. It's not even just mindset. It's the totality of everything and getting deep inside the emotions and energy that guide us to the thing we want. And being able to validate ourselves and not validate ourselves through external means and feeling good in a whole, right? When Mike first came in, he was, no, he was expecting like just a fitness program. And I remember one of the conversations we had in the very beginning, he was like, yeah, man, like, the first, I did this like bulking program and the person like wasn't really that like attentive and he didn't really talk to me. And I kind of felt like I fell off the program, right? Like a lot of times we fall off the things we pay for and do. Like by the end of it, we're not really doing it anymore. And he felt as though that during the program, as it progressed, he got more consistent, right? I think
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest things that he mentioned. I just thought it was funny because we're working not just on the physical aspect, but we're really working on the big part is right the mindset of it, of our beliefs, our values, our vision, our mission, our standards. Right, we did a whole standards worksheet, and really getting clear on like the person we want to be in our identity. And then the top of that, right, is kind of the spiritual aspect, really connecting with ourselves, our emotions, connecting with the past, detaching from it, letting go of it so that we can move forward in our life with more joy, happiness, and confidence. And I really saw the transformation in Mike throughout, this whole time. And it was just amazing to see. And Mike, I'd love if you were having a conversation with your friend, like, what would you say to them if they were considering like doing this program?
A couple of big things to walk into the program with. Um, no expectations. I think that I had expectations and they were quite quickly rejected, um, which was a very positive thing. But I know initially I was kind of upset with that guidance and the direction that it was going. Um, Obviously, I stayed true to it and I really did see the value that was being brought to the table. And I think that with what I'm saying is let down your guard a little bit on these calls that you're talking about, these conversations you're having. Um, Really kind of open up to why you want to go where you like to move forward and progress where you want to go. Really kind of give into the program. That's something that I kind of really
Surrender.
expect. Like, forget expectations, forget all of that, forget other programs you've done, and just walk in with a very open mind towards improving yourself. And sometimes it's gonna be a honest truth that may hurt a lot, and it may break down some of your own beliefs and thoughts you've had for years. it's scary. It's definitely scary. I had my moments where I'm like, oh God, like I don't know if I'm gonna do this. But it's worth a while in the end. Um, Obviously, throughout the program, I did have my own slips here and there with consistency, and I think that that's something that is always going to be around. Just because life catches up to you a little bit, you get busy with this and make projects, and your attention is divided. But if you fall off, be gentle to yourself. Don't be too harsh. Don't be anything regarding that in a negative light and bring down your frequency. Uh, Oliver's very understanding. He's very open to communicating and really kind of just saying, okay, let's get back up and go. And it was funny throughout the program. I think the first, like the very initial part of the program, I would fall off and I'd fall off, and mentally I'd be off for about 2 weeks or a week. And I really wouldn't get back into the flow of it for a little while. And come towards the end of the program, I had a bad spell actually. A
Yeah,
lot
talk
of
about
negative
that.
thoughts,
Yeah.
a lot of different things kind of going on in my head with where my progress was. Uh, and I bounced back in hours from where I was. And it's something that I was it's a lot of moments that you have in the program are those aha moments that you won't see initially. You won't get it until your subconscious and your unconscious connect dots and bring things together, and it brings it into your consciousness with your four sides of your personality that you have. Uh, so, like I said, with that, be kind to yourself, be open minded, be open for changes around your own life that you've already built your scaffolding on. Um, and that's something that's going to be that's what the change is. That's really where it comes in, is the heavy lifting that you're doing day in, day out. Um, and I think the last thing I wanted to mention is don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to stay connected and communicating. I know I probably texted Oliver so many times and was like, I had to change this date. This date doesn't work for me for our call. Can we change it? Can we move it to this time? And he's very accommodating in that sense. So don't be afraid to
Yeah,
do that. Don't kind of,
flexibility is important, right?
yeah, be accountable towards you showing up. You show up for these meetings. You um, really invest your time into the hour, 2 hours. We would have 2 hour conversations sometimes.
Yeah,
And I
they
know
would
it would
extend
be
however long they
after
needed to, right?
after a 10-hour day of work, after a 2 hour workout, and then coming home to another 2 hour call. I was starving. I was ready to just get downstairs, eat, and knock
I
out.
feel that.
But it's one of those things where the program is gonna stretch you in the aspects of time and your accountability and your investment in it. And that's something that I know I mentioned at the beginning, giving into it, but give yourself that time. Give yourself that time, even if it goes over your sleep time in that time frame, let's say, or your energy is uh, drained. Still show up. Don't just walk away. I know there was a couple of days on the trainings that I was like, I am not in the mood to talk to people. I am really not in the mood. Um, I would be quieter on the calls, but it was something that I still was there. I was still listening, still learning and investing my time. And when you invest your time into something, your mindset is going to be focused in on whatever task that is. So uh, don't text while you're on the calls. Don't any other distractions, eliminate them.
Yeah, stay focused. Pretty much
Message.
is the message.
So
Because right, it's true. Same with class. Like if you were, kind of messing around and not paying attention, you would get the homework and you'd be like, I don't know what to
where
do.
we are. Yeah.
Um, so I love that point of kind of, there'd be flexibility, and sometimes like we wouldn't want to jump on a call, and the call was longer, and it just kind of was as long as it needed to be.
Yeah.
But showing up every day, and Mike did show up, and that's why, you know, he had such transformation and just really his mentally, physically, and spiritually, right? I think you're the strongest you've ever been right
Yeah.
now. If
Yeah.
I'm, is that right? Like, what are your like
Yeah.
what were your numbers before to now? I mean, just in terms of physical, right?
I have been hitting my personal records in all my compound lifts for benching, squat, deads. Um, and this is the third week in my own program that I've been writing. Very similar to Oliver's, but uh, I'm at the same point in 3 weeks that I took my whole journey of a strength phase with Oliver for what, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 12? It was long.
It was like 8 or 10 weeks.
Yeah, it was a long strength phase that built up to these PRs, and I'm already back on it. Um, and nutrition's been higher, so that's been good. It's just it's been great to see the results. Mentally, you're resilient. I know 2020 has been a crazy year, and I think
Yeah.
that because it has been so crazy, it's allowed me to focus in more on. It's almost.
It's 2021 now. It
I
was a
know it's
crazy year.
2021 now. I know it is, but I'm saying like in respect to the years, it's even with all the hurdles and hassles and craziness of 2020, uh, this program still allows you to push through, and I think those hurdles help even more to really bring out conversations and talks. I mean, obviously, I know 2021 is here. I'm so excited. Lots of big things to come, but it's carrying what you've learned in the past with the program and moving forward with it, staying consistent, keeping on, uh, making sure that you're staying to your mission, your vision, as well as I know for me, I've really still embody a lot of the become your elite, and I know my own mission and my own vision and standards are going to be a little bit different, but they are still very much synonymous with each other. Um, and that's where I'm seeing a lot of the great results. It's just kind of showing up, staying accountable to what you say, what your actions are doing, and really invest your time in the relationships and the conversations you're having with family members, friends, and coworkers, or any other kind of gym members that you're interacting with in your day. Um, yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited. It's a lot of cool things. Mentally, yeah, been rocking it. I still meditating, even if I don't do it every single day. It's putting that intention behind everything you do, and I think that's the biggest takeaway from Oliver's program, if I could say that in one word, is intention.
Yeah. And you've been very intentional with the direction that you're kind of moving in your life, whereas before it was just a little kind of wishy-washy with everything, and we just got super clear, right? We got super clear on like, what is your vision? What is your mission? Like, where do you want to be? Like, what do you want out of your life? And just getting super clear on that kind of destination, and then, understanding your values. What are your values? What are your standards? Kind of creating this identity. Um, Identifying beliefs. We did a whole kind of biography type of thing where we kind of, broke down, the past to kind of realize what limiting beliefs are stopping us from moving forward and getting just super clear. And that's what we've done. And so would love to ask one more question as we kind of get to the end here is who would you kind of recommend this program for? Like, what type of person or um, situation would they be in or struggling with? Like, who are those people
Yeah.
that you feel would benefit the most from kind of the experience that you went through?
So obviously, everyone is welcome. I implore you all to go and join Oliver's program. As much as his slots can fill him up. He's very accommodating to you and your own personal journey and where you want to improve on. But a couple of things that Oliver may kind of talk in the beginning about maybe are some uh, issues with disorders. And I know for me, like I have a lot of anxiety. That was something that I was really struggling with. But if you're struggling with some other kind of psychology disorder in any aspect, that's something that's really great to kind of see and bring to the table your journey and how he can help you improve your mindset. Because I know a lot of the psychology elements to it. You feel trapped in a sense of you've lived this way for so many years with this disorder or this struggle. How can I get out of this? How can I break it? How can I move forward? Um, in addition, I think that if you've been on programs before, like I have, that are simply fitness and nutrition, which no bashing, I understand the point of them and where they're coming from. But I definitely do hold the new program that Oliver has written to a higher standard, to a higher understanding and motivating belief. Um, and that's part of the whole mission vision that he's going for. But if you've done these old programs and they have not been working for you, jump on this. That's something I would recommend. If it's something you've been good at, is struggling with commitment and struggling with consistency in your day, and uh, time goes by too fast, jump on it. It's something where those two I think are great aspects to it. Um, Obviously, there's a lot more other scenarios that could be at play and kind of bring your focus into this, but it's a very much worthwhile program to invest in. Um, so yeah.
Awesome. And for anybody watching this, um, Mike is now doing his own thing, which is amazing. We talked about before. He's going to also become a online coach as well. So learning this stuff. So just by getting coached through this deeper work, you're gaining kind of skills as well. And just want to thank Mike again. Super grateful. Really, anyone that I'm able to help and coach is just a joy for me. And seeing where he's at now is truly a gift, honestly. And just want to thank you again, Mike, for your time and
Of
for this
course.
journey that we've gone on, because it's truly been a journey, and it's really is always a journey. And right, this isn't therapy either, guys. This is a holistic program that we're working on issues for you to improve in your life. Right, it's not therapy, it's coaching. So understanding that as well, but there are things that we address and that we help with, right? So this is almost a supplementation with therapy, because
Yes.
as therapy talks about specific things, we talk about specific things and move you forward to kind of help with all that stuff, right? So, you know, Mike, I think as Mike said before, his anxiety is really improved just in terms of his ability to manage it, right? And
Direct the energy that I want to go to. And like Oliver just said, it's very much a supplemental. So if you need to still do therapy, continue doing it. I've gone to therapy. I don't think I was doing it in unison with the program. I did my therapy beforehand, but there is no reason to not be able to do both and have the capacity to do both. You can very much do both in unison together, and they'll both help strengthen you. So that's something that I definitely see. And also, I kind of wanted to mention this quickly, but even after my program is done with Oliver, I know my old programs, it was very much said and done, move on. With my old trainers, I know that me and Oliver, we will continue to communicate, engage, and really still maybe make projects down the road together and all that jazz, and podcasts or YouTube pages or whatever the jazz may be.
keep that
Just kind of keep
relationship
that
is, yeah,
relationship going. Yeah.
super
So
important.
that's something else that I really enjoy with Oliver's program as well. He does not walk away when things are done. Um, Obviously, very busy man. He's doing a lot. So if you don't grab him right away, that's okay. But that's still something that you can still communicate with him, still move forward, and keep your training on your own, and feel confident with what you're doing by yourself, but still know that like I made a great connection with a great person, and it's only gonna it's not gonna go away. And I think that's one thing that I really liked, is that kind of resoluteness of, yeah, this is what's happened, this is where we've done, and I've really connected into this whole community that I've got invested in and involved in. And this program is only going to build that community and experiences and backgrounds. That's something that I really think is very fascinating to see this community grow. I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, man. I am as well. And we have big things just being worked on as this community grows, coaching grows, and again, appreciate you giving me the trust of working together for over a year, right? And just the
Cool.
progress that you've made, seriously. And yeah, guys, gonna end it at that. And of course, if you want to get in contact with Mike, what is your Instagram?
It is Mike underscore Ward, WARD underscore health. So if you want to reach out to me there, slide into my DMs. I'll be right there. Check out my page.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
obviously check out all of this too.
yeah. No, check out his page. Slide in like a slip and slide, and you know, of course, if you're probably watching this, you know my Instagram as well. And hey guys, stay tuned for anything. And if you want to get on a conversation, Mike knows as well. I have a conversation. There's no pitch when I first talk to you. It's not how I work. I talk with you, see what's going on, and bring some clarity and see if I can help. That's how I work. That's how I do everything. I don't know if I can help you until I talk to you, and even at that point, we still figure things out, and I give you whatever insight I can. So if you are interested and you want to kind of go through this journey too together, just reach out and we'll have a conversation and we'll build a relationship, right? That's the most important part. But other than that, peace out and
Yeah,
thanks for listening.
awesome.